Let's just start with something we can all agree on. Right now, this very moment, you are having an experience. You're hearing my voice, you're seeing this screen, but what is that feeling, really? What's the fundamental nature of what's happening inside your head?
For the longest time, that was a question for philosophers. But now science is offering two absolutely wild, competing answers. Is your mind just an incredibly complex program, a piece of software running on the hardware of your brain? Or is it something way, way stranger, a process that's actually tied into the fabric of reality itself?
And this is where it gets really exciting. This isn't just a thought experiment anymore. The debate has officially moved out of the armchair and into the lab. There is a single, actual experiment that could finally tell us if our consciousness is born from code or if it's a feature of the cosmos. So, to really get a handle on what's at stake here, we need to understand the two major theories battling it out. These are two fundamentally different ways of looking at the universe and our place in it. It all really boils down to this one simple question. Does the stuff we're made of actually matter? The computational view, that's the one on the left, it says, nope, recreate the brain's information patterns in a computer and consciousness will just pop into existence. But the quantum view says absolutely yes. Our biology isn't just convenient hardware. It's an essential, finely tuned instrument that's harnessing a fundamental process of the universe. Okay, so first, let's dig into the dominant theory. This is the idea that really underpins most of modern neuroscience and for sure all of artificial intelligence research. It's the idea that our mind is just a magnificent biological computer. One of the big models here is called the Global Neuronal Workspace Theory, or GNW. I want you to think of your brain like a giant corporation. Most of the work is done quietly in different departments, right? That's all your unconscious processing. But when a really key piece of information comes along, it's not just kept in one department. It gets broadcast to everyone, like a company-wide memo. For GNW, that moment of information going viral, that is consciousness. Then there's another really powerful idea, Integrated Information Theory, IIT for short. This theory tries to measure how interconnected a system is. It even has a number for it, called phi. A system with a high phi, like, a human brain, is one where the whole is so much more than the sum of its parts. You can't just break it down into pieces. And for IIT, consciousness literally is that integrated information.
Now, here's the crucial thread that ties these two ideas together. Both of them are what's called substrate independent. Basically, they're hardware agnostic. They argue that if you can perfectly copy the brain's information patterns, its software, then consciousness will emerge no matter what you build it out of, silicon, whatever. This is the core belief that's driving this whole quest for truly conscious AI.
But what if all of that is just completely wrong? What if we're on the wrong track? Nobel laureate Sir Roger Penrose has this radical alternative. He argues that consciousness isn't computed at all. It actually comes from a totally different realm of science. And this is it. The Orchestrated Objective Reduction theory, or Orch OR. Yeah, it's a mouthful. But the core idea is that our minds are tapping into a physical process that's just outside the world of normal computers. See, Penrose thinks human understanding has this special quality, this ability to grasp truth through insight that no algorithm can ever capture. And the source of that, he says, isn't computation, it's quantum physics. And where does this all happen? Well, the theory points to a pretty surprising place. It's not at the synapses, the gaps between neurons. It's deep inside the neurons themselves, within these tiny protein scaffolds called microtubules. For a long time, we thought these were just structural supports, like girders in a building. Orch OR says, no, these are the brain's quantum processors. So here's the gist of how it's supposed to work. Microtubules are made from these little peanut-shaped proteins called tubulin. The theory goes that these tubulins can enter a quantum superposition, which basically means they can be in two different shapes at the exact same time. These are the brain's proposed quantum bits, or qubits. So how does that fuzzy quantum state connect to your actual experience? Well, Penrose says that this quantum state is naturally unstable because of gravity, of all things. It can only hold itself together for a fraction of a second before it spontaneously collapses into one single definite reality. And that physical event, that moment of collapse, that is a moment of conscious experience. And this isn't just some vague philosophical idea. It's a real physical prediction. Penrose's equation makes a direct link. The time it takes for a conscious moment to happen depends directly on the mass of the particles involved in that quantum state. More mass means a faster collapse. And this right here, this little equation, is what makes the whole crazy theory actually testable.
But, okay, before we get to the amazing test, this quantum theory has to face a massive, decades-old roadblock. It's an objection that questions whether this is even possible inside a living thing.
And this is it. It's called the decoherence argument. See, quantum states are unbelievably fragile. The chaotic environment of a living cell, all the heat, the vibrations, the molecules bumping around, it should, by all accounts, destroy any quantum superposition almost instantly. It's like trying to hear a tiny whisper in the middle of a roaring rock concert.
But the proponents of Orch OR, they have answers. They think that evolution might have found some really clever workarounds to protect these fragile processes. Maybe special ordered water molecules act like an insulator. Or maybe the computations just happen so incredibly fast, they can outrun all that thermal noise. I mean, they argue that nature has already figured out how to protect quantum effects in other warm, wet places, like photosynthesis. So why not the brain?
So here we are. We've got this grand clash of ideas. And for the very first time, we might actually be able to settle it. A clean, falsifiable experiment has been designed to put both of these theories to the ultimate test.
The experiment's design is just beautiful in its simplicity. It all hinges on the one thing that only Penrose's theory cares about: mass. Scientists can use isotopes to make those tubulin proteins just a little bit heavier, without changing their chemistry at all. And then the question is simple. Does that tiny change in mass affect a known signature of consciousness, like gamma brainwaves? And this is the moment of truth, because the two camps make completely opposite predictions. The computational theories say mass is totally irrelevant. The algorithm doesn't care how much the atoms weigh. The result should be no change at all. But Penrose's theory demands a change. Remember the equation? Heavier mass means faster collapses, and therefore a higher frequency. It's a fork in the road.
Okay, so the results of this experiment, whichever way they go, are going to have some truly profound implications for how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe. Let's just game this out.
So, scenario 1, there's no change. If that happens, it would be a huge win for the computational side. It would strongly suggest that the brain really is a kind of biological computer, and that the super ambitious goal of building a conscious machine just by recreating its software is, at least in principle, possible. On the other hand, what if the frequency does shift? Well, that would be one of the biggest scientific discoveries of our lifetime, period. The first real evidence linking our minds to the physics of quantum gravity. It would mean that consciousness isn't just a clever algorithm, it's a physical process woven from the unique biological stuff that we're made of. This experiment, it hasn't been completed yet. So for now, we're kind of left hanging, suspended like a quantum state right before it collapses, with one of the most profound questions we could possibly ask. Is the rich inner world you're experiencing right now, is it all just a feature of information, or is it a feature of the universe itself? The answer is out there, waiting.